bronche. That's how we say brunch.
Here's to the ladies who say basic with their lunch. Be a queen.
Be a boss.
Ladies who brunch and pop it off.
Hey, we pop and pop it off. We pop.
All right. The episode's about to start.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Ladies Who Bronche. I'm Julissa.
What's good, everybody? This is Skittles.
And this week, I am so fucking pumped for our guest. This woman is literally the reason why in any sort of good media that you see coming from Bronche, I look cute. She is the reason why I feel empowered in the way that I practice my womanhood. She is so affirming, so talented, so gorgeous. Daigi, who the fuck are you?
Good job. Okay, but that intro was everything. Oh my gosh. So my name is Daigi. I also go by Day. And I am an actress, dancer, spoken word poet, and also I am also working in and basically living my life in the realm of fitness nowadays. So that's my bread and butter, that's my bag, but also another passion that I discovered a couple years back, and that's where I live. I'm a Capricorn. I enjoy long walks on the beach, and my hobbies include brunch and generally just being slept on.
Yes, being slept on. And I have to say, I can attest to that. I feel like, Daigi, you are a powerhouse. And I feel like because you have your hats, you wear so many different hats in different arenas, like people who don't see all the arenas don't understand that you're not just a fucking power within where they meet you, but you cover so many different areas. And like, it's so funny that you like you're a stylist to me. You are a stylist, but I think for me, the mark of any good person who works with people around fashion or styling them is not so much how cool they make people look, but the experience that people are having when they're being styled by them. And I think what I love about being styled by you, Daigi, is that it always feels like therapy in a way. You know what I mean? It feels like it's a moment where you're able to bring all your shit and you have all the words of encouragement and affirmation. You share as well, right? So you're not just one of those people who like takes people's stories. You share as well, which makes it feel like such an intimate moment. And so by the time it's time to get in front of the camera and stuff, you're unknowingly like warmed up.
No, that's so real. That's so real. And I love that you just said that because like, also this is something that like, in hindsight, I've been kind of doing for a while now, but I've never considered myself a stylist. It's only like since recently you guys have like been calling me that I'm like, oh wait, hold up. Let me put that on the resume.
Right.
But it's something that like what you just said about like having those genuine interactions and how important they are when you're on a set is so real, because I have a friend, shout out to Nathan, who is a stylist, and that's how we met. We met on set and he was my stylist. And that was literally that energy and that, interaction was like how comfortable we made each other feel right off the bat. So when I was ready to shoot, I was like ready to go. And every time I would go onto a set and I would see him or he was like the stylist that was on set, I would get so hyped. Like, I'm like, oh, this is going to be a bomb shoot. Like, because he was just such a vibe. So I love that I'm doing that for somebody else. So thank you.
100%. And Daigi, Skittles, I don't know if I told you this, but Daigi is about to play Shenzi for a Clubhouse first, like, performance of Lion King. So she auditioned.
I'm so excited.
And for those who don't know, Shenzi is the hyena who Whoopi Goldberg voices in the original film.
Yes.
And I just have to say, I'm so proud of my girl. And that whole audition was a whole orchestration because I was like, I went there just to watch Daigi audition. But like it was like a 4-hour audition process altogether. And so she was at work and I was all up in there. And then I was like, fuck, now I'm on the audition too, because I've been in this room. So I might as well fucking audition. But just because I was so invested in Daigi getting cast in this thing, just because I just think like when you're in spaces like Clubhouse, and we've talked about Clubhouse quite a bit this season, it's important to know that like we can fully take up space in Clubhouse, even though we're not Meek Mill or we're not Joe Budden and these people who like have these rooms with hundreds and hundreds of people at a time. But we're here, we're talented. And so what was really affirming to me was not only that Daigi got cast, but that I was in another room and they just happened to be talking about Daigi. And I was like, that's my girl. And they were like, nah, for real. And then, what I like about Clubhouse, they went to that page and they were like, oh shit, you do know her. I'm like, yeah, that is my people's. And so it's like, to me, it's like the validation of like, yeah, she's hot shit and she's about to pop off, but you ain't the one who knew her first.
That's my friend.
We family first. Y'all not about to take my girl, like, and just act like y'all discovered her. Nah, like she brought the gift to y'all, not the other way around. So I'm really, really excited for that moment and just for the continued glow up and growth that you've had, Daigi, overall. So
thank you, babe. Oh my God. No, for real, that's amazing. Thank you so much. And like honestly, like I love because I'm all about it too, but I love how hard y'all love on me because that is everything. So
it's a reciprocation, sis. It's a reciprocation.
Already know. Period.
All right, Daigi. Well, we're gonna start you off with our brunch questions, and our first question is: when you go out to brunch with your girls, what is your brunch bebida? What is your go-to brunch drink?
So first of all, I'm always gonna have like mimosa me down, period, but also light skin mimosa me down because there's a difference, like
are you
3 parts.
Are you
said
a fan
what?
of vodka?
No,
like
I've never done that.
Issa Rae does like more part champagne than orange juice, and then like a splash of vodka.
Oh, get out of here. She's crazy. So the thing is, no, legit. And also vodka gives me headaches. But no, I'm like, I love just the champagne. Give me like a spritzer of orange juice. That's it, period. But I also feel like anything that I'm already drinking, champagne amplifies it. And it's very heady. So it makes me feel even more like, kind of like a drunken high. And if I'm not doing mimosas, light skin mimosas, I'm doing either anything with ginger. So a dark and stormy is my shit. So what goes in is ginger because West Indian people them love them ginger.
Yes.
So ginger, and then you have a rum, of course, and then bitters, I believe, is in there, and I can't remember what else. It might be another ingredient in there, but it's amazing.
Yes, love a good dark and stormy.
So good.
You were the first person that I tasted a dark and stormy with.
Yes, at my birthday spot.
Yes.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. So good. The best place that I ever had a dark and stormy was there's this spot on the Upper East Side. And I know how it sounds because the Upper East Side usually isn't known for like having good spots to like go to, whatever. But it was a restaurant and / bar, like an Indian place. And they had the dark and stormy with a sugar cane in it, like as the garnish. So Caribbean people and their sugar cane. So I would drink my dark and stormy, and like the sugar cane was like in my tree after. I'd be there like,
yes, I love it. Love it.
So when you go out to brunch with the girls, what's your go-to plate?
So prior to me being vegetarian, it was always chicken and waffles. Love a chicken and waffles. Now I don't even know what I would get, like probably like pancakes. If it's a carb, chances are I'm probably eating it.
Nice.
Probably. I love like that balance of sweet and like savory.
How long have you been vegetarian?
Honestly, since right before the shutdown, since right before March.
Okay.
Yeah.
So relatively new, like so.
Yeah.
You
haven't even. Yeah. No, not even. Yeah. I mean, that's it. Yeah. I made a little faux chicken and waffle with my mushroom. I figured out how to make a little fake fried chicken with my portobello mushrooms. So
Yes.
I've made like my little faux Popeyes chicken sandwich with it already. Like I love a little substitution that feels and tastes like the real thing, but also like that flavor is so important. And that's really what it is to me. And portobello mushrooms, if you don't know this, are like the best for that because they hold the flavor and the spices really well.
See, that's always good. That's always like, if I were to, when we did our vegan challenge and like if I've ever tried to be vegetarian, my thing is the fried chicken. Like chicken wings is what would get me.
Yeah. That's it. And you just bread it the same way and like, you know, prepare it the same way, throw it in the little pan, fry it up, and it literally looks just like fried chicken strips, the portobello, and it tastes amazing. It's bursting with flavor because, you know, it just holds it.
Yeah, see, that's that dedication though that you have to be able to like prepare things that remind you of what you left behind. And I just don't, like, I know how to cook. I'm a good cook, but I don't be having patience for recipes and doing all that. So I'm like, damn, that I'm just straight up gonna eat the greens and do what I know how to do with the greens. I'm not gonna get innovative with the greens.
I feel you.
But that's really dope. So Daigi, tell us, what was it like going out to eat when you were growing up?
It was an event. Like every time we went out to eat, it was such an event. Like, I am cut from a very bougie stock. So both my parents are bougie AF. Like my mom is the definition of classy, bougie, ratchet. My dad, this is like something that like Jamaicans say is like, when somebody's like dressed really well and like decked to the nines, it's like they dress up like chicken foot. Like, because you ever see the chicken feet? Like when the chicken steps out, they be like, them three little. So like that's what. That basically that's the energy they give it when they get dressed up. And so like that's one thing that like my mom always used to describe my dad. And like it was to the point where like if my dad was taking us out to eat, right? And my sister and I would come downstairs. If my clothes were wrinkled, my dad is sending me right back upstairs to iron my clothes.
Wow.
I don't care how late we are. Like it was all about presentation and how you show up in a space. Like, and that was instilled in me from when I was a kid to the point where like, I can't do it now. I almost wore a different t-shirt today and the shit wasn't ironed, but I didn't have time. So I was like, I can't wear that. So it was always an event. We used to go to the Sizzler.
Yes, same.
That was the spot. Like that was like our what's the like the Sizzler equivalent? Like what's the bougie Sizzler equivalent? Like
I'm trying to think because I'm so caught up on the buffet part. I'm like,
I don't know. That was our Ruth Chris.
Yeah.
That's what the Sizzler was our Ruth Chris, and we would go there after every big event, like a graduation, a christening, like anything. Like we would be at the Sizzler, and that was like such a treat for us. So yeah.
Yes, there really was something to Sizzler. It was Sizzler for my family, and then the other place we used to go to a lot was Ponderosa. That was in Co-op.
Yes, I remember that.
Co-op, which is now where the BBQs is at. That spot used to be like a Sizzler's pretty much.
And you know, the Sizzler was right off Purdy. And
right here. Yeah, where it's now a Golden Corral.
Now it's a Golden Corral. Trash. Just as I thought, trash.
Right.
But like I've heard bad things about that Golden Corral. So
I haven't even been yet. I literally live up the block. But
no, you tried it?
I had it. I had it the night of that we had the premiere party, and it was like it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't like because I had been built up to, oh my God, they're building a Golden Corral. I had never heard of a Golden Corral before, so it was built up, and then I was just like, but then even the cashier was giving me the disclaimer of like, oh, well, because the buffet's not open, this isn't how it usually is, before they even gave us the food. Like,
so you already set up for like kind of disappointment.
Yeah, and it just really was like Kennedy's quality mac and cheese, like Kennedy's quality mashed potatoes.
Because it wasn't the Sizzler.
That's a
The
fact.
shrimp was good. I liked the.
Oh yes, I feel like it's so hard to mess up shrimp, but I also went to a place where they like overdid the shrimp, and I was like, come on. I'm like, this is so hard to do. How did you do this? How did you manage to do this?
Yeah.
But I also got my dinner 50% off because, you know, we saw a cucaracha in the restaurant. So there's that.
Ooh,
I'm not going to name no name.
Right.
I'm not going to say what restaurant it was that because that's crazy.
Wow.
But it's some place that I used to go to all the time. And I'm like, I love that place because it's like one of those places that it's like just the right amount of ghetto. You need that. Like you need that. Like it's bougie, but you need the classy and the bougie and the ratchet.
Yes.
The formula, right? 2 parts uppity and like 1 part ghetto. That's like formula for a great eatery. I'm telling you.
Yes, that's the balance for the music. Which it makes me even think of. I still haven't seen the video or the commentary, but apparently there was a restaurant owner this week that was like mad because they were playing "Back That Ass Up," but then people started like twerking in the restaurant during brunch, and he was like, "It's not that kind of establishment. It's not like a dance spot. You're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
Like, why do people have to show up like that?" And the backlash was like, "Bro, why are you playing Back That Ass Up and don't expect people to back that ass up?" Like,
what that tells me is this is someone that just doesn't understand the impact that song has on a culture. He's out of touch. And what this really comes down to is just a big misunderstanding.
Oh no, you misunderstood. That song is an instructional song. So as law-abiding citizens, we back that ass up.
That's what we do, period.
So Daigi, tell us, what is your favorite bochinche topic, your little gossip topic that you like to discuss over brunch?
I think my favorite is always going to be relationships. Like, I love knowing, like, outside of like first we'll do like all the updates, right? Because I'm like, something fills my heart, like when I hear about like my people doing good or doing well and like celebrating all those little wins and things like that. But I'm always gonna want to hear about, so what happened? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm always here for that. Maybe because I'm always the person that I feel like I always got something to say around that topic too. So there's also that, because I'm like, you know, everybody's giving their updates and I'm like, ooh, when is my turn? I'm ready for this. Wait till I hear this.
I love it. I agree. I love talking about relationships. So never tired of that, because plenty, and we're actually going to talk about that later on today. So we're going to get into it. Awesome.
Okay, so now it's time to get into our Cheers to the Ladies Who section, where we shout out dope people doing dope shit. And we are shouting out Mariah Carey today for putting out her Merry Christmas special, right? Her Mariah Carey Christmas special. But the big highlight was this collaboration that she had with Jennifer Hudson and Ariana Grande.
Yes.
I liked it. I enjoyed it. It has me listening to the song. This is what I think, though. Okay.
Here we go.
First off, I thought it was a missed opportunity to come out with an original song that could be a new Christmas classic.
Agreed.
Because it is a remix of a song that Mariah Carey released like 2 years ago. So it's one of her songs, and she just added Jennifer Hudson and Ariana Grande onto it. So I thought it was a missed opportunity to put out original music.
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah. And I also just feel like she misused the voices that she had. Like Ariana Grande, it's obviously a big deal for Ariana Grande. Ariana Grande has always been compared to Mariah. So I get that this is a moment for Ariana Grande, and I get that Mariah could be like sunning her in the section of like,
definitely sunning her.
You can't tell who's singing what. You know, Ariana doesn't really get to belt until the ending. She does the really like whispery, like soft vocals. Like
she was trying to be respectful.
Yeah.
It made her, and it made her blend with Mariah. Like really, you couldn't tell who was singing what. And so I get why she would do that for Ariana, but I feel like if you're going to do that for Ariana, then get somebody like Demi Lovato to be the other girl. Don't do J Hud like that. Like J Hud, she has an Oscar. You know, she was Effie. All right, don't make her Effie.
She made her the Effie of Christmas.
She Effied her.
Christmas Effie. You're right.
The Christmas Effie.
Yes, you're right.
J Hud looked.
She really did.
By the end of the video, J Hud is dancing there, like standing there. She's not really singing much of anything. Like
that's crazy. Wow.
That's like there's 2 moments where J Hud gets to belt her face off, and it's just those like 2 short, quick minutes. And then it was like I feel like Mariah was in the studio, like, all right, she got her 2 moments, cut her out the rest of the song.
Yes. And honestly, like even in the video with the outfits, it's like, first of all, I thought Jennifer looked the most beautiful. I loved her dress the most. But Mariah, like, was really serving sexy Christmas. Like, she wanted to remind bitches that even though you got little Ariana in the back, covered up looking like a 12-year-old, right? Because that was another thing I noticed. They really covered her up. But she wanted to show
the Christmas dresses that you wear to church?
That's what she looked like.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying.
Service, the Christmas service.
She even had the little head bow thing. She looked like a little 12-year-old. Yes. She looked like she was ready for the Christmas family photo. Absolutely. Oh my gosh. But I also realized that in the wardrobe, that told me everything I needed to know about the ego that was going on in the whole project. But it is a little bop. No, they were up, and then there was like cleaved out, which listen, I'm here for the titties. Don't get me wrong. I was here for the titties, but I also realized that the titties was the only ones that was allowed to be the titties of the video. You feel me? Like
oh yes. She was given sexy gingerbread realness.
Yes. But I am glad to see it. You know what I mean? And I think that like, I feel like white people during Christmas allow themselves to forget that Mariah Carey's Black, and that she is not just like, she obviously, like, she has her passing privileges, but she is a Black woman. And I think to have Jennifer in there was cool too, because Jennifer's already established. She doesn't need like accolades from white people, but just this idea of like the subtle, it's Christmas, we're here celebrating. And yes, there is this Black woman here, not just me, Ariana. And like you said, she could have gotten a Demi or something else. And I don't think she did it because of race. I don't think she did it because of race, but I do think that every opportunity for a Black woman to be fucking up what like these white, middle of the country people are used to for Christmas, it was a nice little way to continue to just like poke their bubble a little bit of like, even your Christmas queen is Black and entertains with Black people.
FYI.
Just FYI.
It was also just like a lost opportunity in the sense of like Mariah's kind of one of the last like
divas,
and you had that iconic concert where it was like Mariah, Celine.
Divas. Remember VH1 used to do the Divas live?
They don't even respect it anymore.
R.I.P.
Yeah, that was a moment in time. Like, give me one moment in time, like that was it. That was a moment.
So let's do this right now. If you were going to build your Divas Live, because I would have Mariah.
Yeah, not put on the spot.
I would have Mariah, J Hud, and Ariana.
All right. I honestly don't feel like Ariana has earned the place of diva yet.
I know she can sing. It's not that I don't think she has the talent, but I don't feel like in her artistry, she's putting that foot forward the most. She's out here trying to be Black and make the hip hop dollars with her little pop music. Okay.
Right. And I'm still not over what she did with what's that little song that she stole from Princess Nokia?
Yeah.
That sounded I'm still not over that. To me, that was real. That was real. That was whack.
Yeah, so, I'm not gonna sit here and say she can't sing and belt. It's not the critique. Yeah, she's that to me, talented. A diva is more than just your singing talent. It's a whole vibe, and I don't like her vibe.
And also diva is like somebody that you want to be.
Yeah,
I feel like
you know,
talking about like generational, like y'all know I'm coming from singing first. Like if we're talking about generational, I feel like she's in my diva vibe.
Okay, like, generational for this generation.
For the new school of girls, like she's the diva. Like her.
If that's what it is, then that's sad. And that's sad.
Say it.
If that's what we've come to, then that's sad. Because and it doesn't have anything to do with like her race or anything either. Because like, I love me some Tina Marie, and I thought Miss Tina Marie was a diva, honey. Like, and I love her down. But I don't know. I think maybe there's also something in it for me where like, this sort of like childish persona that she's always kind of like pushing, and it's
she's always doing sexy baby, like
it's a little weird for me. It's a little weird.
It is. Like the schoolgirl, like I look 16, but I'm gonna say I want to fuck you all night.
And like wear stilettos and like little skirts and like
I have some healing. I have some healing to do with Ariana before I accept it, because I'm not gonna sit here and say that she's not talentedly warranted for it, but I'm just not gonna sit here and act like I'm gonna like it.
That part.
But I'm interested, Skittles. You didn't name Beyonce in there.
Oh, I guess Beyonce would be a diva too. Yeah, she would.
Because I know her voice be debatable. I know she ain't the best of the best. Yes. She's great, but she ain't the best of the best. Back to Effie. Honestly,
I know that my love-hate relationship with Beyonce is that she takes from artists and doesn't credit them like when she does.
Oh,
yeah, that's Faye. That's
now she has enough money to like make sure that her name is at the top of the credit list in the contract already. Like period.
Right.
Okay.
That's real. But Jennifer definitely, honestly, like I have this thing where because of the way pop music has evolved, we don't leave enough room for people like Jennifer's career to actually have the impact of the talent that they have. And it's disappointing. And I have to test. I can't sit here and say like I listen to her albums through and through, right? But it's weird because it's like you want a certain bop and whatever, and when I listen to diva music, I literally go straight to my Celine, straight to my old Mariah's, like, you know what I mean? And then those are the moments where I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, like let me listen to see what Jennifer has put out, and I like mix it in those playlists, but that's not like an everyday vibe for me anymore.
Is it something that happens in hindsight? Like I'm wondering if that's a thing. Sorry.
Wait, say that again, Daisy.
I was like, is it something like the diva moments, or is it something that happens in hindsight? Is it, because I don't know if like while Whitney was Whitney and she was like, you know, still maybe like 2-3 years into her career, if that was something that was, you know, put on her, or was she occupying that mantle of diva while doing that, or was it something that happened later? And looking back, people were
later in her career.
It was later in her career.
Like, even when Mariah plays it up now. Like Mariah's kind of like part of the joke because, you know, she just like plays it up and like knows it now. But I don't know that she knew it then.
Yeah, definitely.
Like someone who would want to be a diva but will never be a diva is like Jennifer Lopez.
Right. Like, yes, that's a great example because J-Lo can never. J-Lo can never, but I love Jennifer. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I love Jennifer. Her, she got to live in the pop world for me. Like, you want to talk about pop women icons? Sure. Don't talk to me on no diva, nothing. But the way the industry be, they would fuck around and put her in there. Just
and they would have tried it.
Right.
They would have.
That's why they canceled. Now that I think about it, I wonder if that's why they canceled the show, because the idea of diva and having more than one,
it's like something so.
It would be like Taylor Swift. Like now they would like throw in Taylor Swift, because back in the day they used to put in Shania Twain. But back in the day there was a Divas Live where Shania. At first I would be like, but like as I got older, I'm like, actually no. For the genre and what she does, absolutely. Like she was the diva of that genre.
And I'm cool with Shania. I love some Shania. I mean, she was a little problematic.
Yeah.
A little problematic now, but
before.
If I were to think of like white divas, I would include Carrie Underwood.
Oh yes, I love Carrie.
And Kelly Clarkson.
Kelly, period.
Period. Kelly Clarkson.
I love Kelly. I remember.
I love Kelly Clarkson.
Oh my gosh, however old I was, literally 15-year-old me being like sitting in the fucking window, like, grew up in a small town. Meanwhile, me in the Bronx, I was
there.
riding on the fucking 6 train, like with the rain, like drizzling.
Like dreaming of a could be.
Happy. Bitch, I wanted to break away so bad.
Bitch, and I tell you, every time I get to use fucking a moment like this, some people wait
all the
a
time.
lifetime for a moment like this.
Mine that I pull out is the because of you.
Come through.
Come on.
My mother doesn't like to listen to that song because that song came out right when my parents broke up. So I was real like emo 13, like because of you.
Here, but we didn't say. But wouldn't we also say Christina Aguilera? Just
Christina!
I can't not say her. We can't not.
Period. I love Christina.
Yeah.
And I don't know if she had a diva moment. I don't know if that. Actually, yes. Honestly,
okay. Yes.
Honestly,
Yes. And she's got an Oscar now, so why not?
Right.
Yeah.
Stir in the pot with the rest of them. Yeah, no, she's
okay.
She can fucking sing. That's a reality. Gaga got it.
Yeah,
Gaga definitely got it.
Oh my gosh, Christina.
Yeah. R.I.P. to her. Like,
What a Girl Wants will forever be my favorite Christina song.
I love that song. I love What a Girl Wants, but I think my favorite song is Hurt. Just because if I had just one more day, I'm not gonna hurt y'all ears because I can't sing, but
that was good.
What is Pink Diva?
Oh, Stripped.
Stripped album.
Was that the one Dirty was on?
Yes. I was like 12 years old, like in the shower talking about fucking until my clothes come off.
Yes.
Well, the song was like that she's literally describing getting fucked. Like I used to imagine what it was like.
What song is that?
Get mine, I get yours. Let me get mine, I get yours. Or
like yes, I remember that. And that's the one that she had Little Kim, right?
Please don't disturb sign. Put my back into a slow grind. Some of the chills up.
Knowing nothing about that.
Right. I was like, I don't think I've ever heard that song and heard that. Like, you know.
I don't think so either.
To listen to that song. I was literally 12 years old talking about send the chills up and down my spine. I had no idea that I wanted to get fucking
right.
But I was singing about it.
You were manifesting, babe.
You were manifesting. Come on. Also, Toni Braxton, because she's still alive. I'm not gonna play her. And I'm not gonna play her because Toni Braxton got me through my childhood. I used to. Okay.
I was over here. I was learning the lessons before I was living the lessons, baby. I was out here like,
what are you thinking?
Oh, what's the song? Period, man. It wasn't man enough.
Okay, so if we going for Toni, my Toni Braxton is let go.
Let it flow.
That's my jam. My favorite.
Everything's gonna work out right.
I'm gonna pack my things away.
Yes.
But if we go in there, then you have to put Grande in the lineup. Like,
but then if you put Grande, you can't leave Monica.
Come on.
Grande and Monica.
But we're not letting in Ashanti. We're not letting Ashanti in.
That's gorgeous versus with Ashanti and Keisha Cole coming up.
All right, but real quick, who y'all think got it?
I was about to say, who y'all got?
Honestly, I'm gonna go if it's on hits, I think Ashanti got it.
But I think Keisha's more talented.
But Keisha Cole has bops though.
Bangers.
You need to get it if you don't wanna love you around and keep on where you wanna be.
No, Keisha.
I'm so man, but I got it like that.
Somebody said there was a tweet that was like, if Missy Elliott never screamed your name on a track, you never had a hit.
Facts.
Real. Yeah. Okay, so that's gonna be a tough one.
Yeah, that's gonna be a tough one. But I do think if it's just based off of like chart hits, Ashanti might. Just because she was featured a lot, but I do prefer me Keisha Cole. That's all I'm gonna say about that. So yes.
Oh, can I have some?
Okay. All right. So now we're gonna move into our Tuta Loca Es, where we shout out motherfuckers for doing the most. Mr. Barack Hussein coming out talking about the defund police slogan. Now, here's what, let me just go ahead and read exactly what he said before we go into it, because I don't want to paraphrase. He says, you lost a big audience the minute you say it, which makes it a lot less likely that you're actually going to get the changes that you want done. The key is deciding, do you want to actually get something done, or do you want to feel good among the people you agree with? Now, I have some notes. Because here's what I'll say. When we are playing within the context of white supremacy politics, he is 100% right. What I feel was a huge missed opportunity for him to maybe position his words differently would be to admit that the only reason why defund police doesn't work is because it's working within a white supremacist system. But it's not acknowledging that part of the reason that people are talking about defunding the police in the first place is to break the very institution that makes it unpopular to say those words. I mean, listen, it was unpopular to say free the slaves. It was unpopular to say integrate. It's been unpopular to say a lot of things in this country that have been necessary changes. So for me, this Black president, right, coming forth and saying that, it was quite disappointing. And there was something I had heard on Clubhouse actually that somebody said, and I'm not going to go and say that this is why he did this, but I will say that the trauma that ADOS people, right, so like African descendants of slaves or of American slavery, right, like can relate to, is this deep nuance around the fact that the enslavement of Black people has really robbed them of an identity that is theirs, because the very country in which they are supposed to be able to identify and have a whole identity, it doesn't allow them to, outside of the construct of the oppression and the continued slavery through other institutions, i.e. the prison to, school to prison pipeline, name them all, right? And so to me, it's like, to make that statement and make it seem like, well, if you want to get something done, that's not how you're going to get it done. So then how about you sit at the table privately with somebody and then support that, because you understand that while your point is correct for a white supremacist system within their work, which they are working it, clearly I'm passionate. I'm like, I can't even fucking speak, right?
Let's go off.
But like, rather than do that, if you're really trying to help us, then really help us. What are you doing getting interviewed and letting yourself be quoted with that? So that you right, so that you have these middle ground people, both BIPOC, white or whatever, who can look at you and say, see, even Obama knows that's not a good idea. And we love Michelle, and it's just like, fuck you. Fuck
just
you.
Just fed right into that.
Undoing so much of the work. And also
basically just undermined it.
And it's not just a slogan. People are very well studied. People are literally putting stats and numbers together for real action plans, so that the moment somebody says, yes, we'll do it, it's not like okay, so now you guys figure it out, give us what we want. They're coming to the table with very clear solutions. And there are politicians, literally people in Congress, who are supporting this movement and are being very diligent about the work. Do not get on a large platform and do that. You know, and if you do want to do that, don't be tight when everybody's looking at you and calling you out. Because a lot of these activists are looking at him fucking crazy. But you know what? Biden is just like, listen, all this like, oh, we voted to get Biden in, wonderful. It's still going to be a very middle ground American experience. We're not about to go all the way left. We're super close to weed being legal. This week there was now like in Congress, or was it in Congress? Somewhere like the proposal made it to the next step to decriminalize weed in the whole United States, right? So what I think is going to happen is that they can take liberal actions like that. They can reverse the bullshit that Trump put on the trans community and the military. They're going to start doing things that feel really radical, but they're not going to give Black people in America, and not just the diaspora Black, but Black Americans from America, they're going to still overlook the specific needs of what the community needs. And I'm not here for it. I'm not here for it. So those are my notes. I don't know what y'all think about it though.
I almost feel like my first thoughts in hearing what he said, I go back to like how people always like to be like, oh, well, like your president did XYZ, and they like point at like the negative things that Barack has done in the past and shit like that. Yeah. Like people in his age group all say that same thing about defund the police. They're like, oh, well, like if you mean reallocating funds, just say that. Like they feel so strongly about these like terms or this slogan that they're not willing to actually look past it and see that the homework's being done and seeing that there's like, you know, solutions being proposed and all this shit. And so they're so stuck on like these 2 words, 3 words that they themselves are completely bypassing being able to like actually see what the movement or what people are trying to like bring about in this change. So it's like their own like ignorance, I guess, is like holding them back. It's that same thing of like having to re-educate these old people over and over again. Like,
damn it, boomers, get it together. Okay, so first of all, I am so disappointed that Barack Jamal Hussein Obama would even
for it to be still funny.
Yes, Jamal, because you know we adopted him. So I feel like every now and then he kind of shows us how like out of touch he is when it comes to things of like the Black American experience, and him just kind of having a little bit of displacement, you know, with his youth and his upbringing. And so this is one of those times. And I'm saying that also as someone who is, I'm a Black American, I'm a Jamaican American, but I'm also technically not African American because I wasn't born here. I was born in Jamaica. I'm an import, you know? And so even though I have had an African American experience or African American upbringing as far as, you know, when I leave my home, right? I'm treated as such. But in situations like that, like there's certain things that if you haven't experienced it first and foremost in the capacity that an African American has, there's certain things that you probably shouldn't speak on, or maybe shouldn't do so as strongly and so publicly. Like that's what I call like showing your ass in the street. Like there's certain things that are, you know, to be discussed among us as a community before you go ahead and take it to the white man stage and say it on behalf of all Black people, right? Because then, just like you pointed out, that's exactly what happens, is that they kind of look for those kind of tools of division to use against us, to be like this, you know, that same like model minority bullshit, right? Where it's like, but look what this one said, but look what this one can do. And if they can do it, and if they can say that or feel that way, why can't you? You know what I mean? Because they're always kind of looking for those loopholes and arguments to like bring in, to try to like poke holes in your, like whatever ground you're standing on. And so that's the only reason why I'm disappointed in it. It's like, I get what he's saying and I get where he's coming from. It ain't here. But it's like in his mind it's valid, but it's not speaking to the experience of African American people. And I feel like he should have just, kept quiet until he figured that out. But here we are.
Yep. And I feel like he could have done a better job of still backing up the cause. And like I said, he just shouldn't have came for the language. The language is just that. It's language. Talk about the policy. Talk about what they're actually drafting and proposing. And don't try to reword it for your comfort. Right.
Give something else. Like come up with you're very good at coming up with your yes we cans and things those taglines that people come tag onto. Maybe defund the police, sure, but maybe come up with your own sort of subdivision of that speaks to what you're trying to bring about without undermining an entire movement that's been going on and probably would be going on with or without you. That's rude.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And it seems like a lot of them are doing that thing where they like we said before, they're criticizing the words without proposing compromising
because what it is that white people have an issue with it.
Yep. White people and because not all kinfolk, it's kinfolk, right?
Conservative
people who know or really feel comfortable within this white supremacist system and democracy, and don't want, because they know what work goes into change. They also know how viscerally white America holds on to whiteness. So they're like, I kind of don't want to live to see a civil war. Just figure it out and chill out. And I feel like so many people have that energy of just worry about your family, do the best you can, and shut the fuck up so that we don't have to have a revolution. And I'm like, y'all too comfortable.
It's
self-included, but
it's kind of interesting, especially following the fact that he had that interview recently with Charlemagne where he's talking about making white people feel comfortable throughout his time as president, and how that was, and sort of juggling that, and juggling the very fragile egos and feelings of white people when it came to things like that, and him just being in that position of power, and what that did to conservatives, or what that did to white people who felt like he shouldn't be there, and you know what I mean, and how he had to sort of move and adjust in order to make them feel comfortable enough not to fucking want to bring his whole damn institution down, or his whole damn down. What they call it? Administration.
His administration.
Administration.
But it's true because even, and obviously the Republicans during his time in office were impossible and made so many things impossible for him.
Trifling is what they were.
But the Democrats, being their comfortable middle-ass selves that they are, also were pulling this Black man and making sure that he stayed middle, but he obliged. Is really, at the end of the day, we can paint it as much as we want and talk about how it's hard as a politician. And I hear that. And I don't hate Obama, actually. I like Obama. I do. But when you got to call him out, you got to call him out. Look, I like Jay-Z too, but Jay-Z ain't always right. I love me some Kanye. Yes. Kanye certainly ain't always right, but is true, we can both like them and criticize them. So
it's because we like them so much why we feel the need to criticize them, because if we didn't give a fuck about them, we wouldn't give a fuck about what they were saying or doing either.
Exactly.
So there's that.
Yes. Anywho, period.
Ooh, this looks good.
Oh my God, this is delicious.
All right, so now we are going to move into our plate of the day. So real life dating while being a Black woman. So
oh wow.
Yeah.
Child, let me pour some more wine.
Yes, get ready for it, right? Because I think that what has me thinking about this a lot is, again, Clubhouse, fucking Clubhouse has taken my life, right? And I see so many rooms where women are talking about different facets about their dating, different facets about their relationships. And I want to open up this conversation. Obviously you, Daigi, as a Black woman, will speak from your perspective. And I'm interested in talking about Black femme in general. You know what I mean? Not just Black cis women, but like in general, there is an experience that Black women have dating. And for me, I think, you know, being Dominican and not using the word Black because we were not taught to use the word Black because we didn't know that we were the same kind of Black. So I would always say Dominican as I'm like, yes, I'm Dominican. I'm the Black people of I'm the Black person of the Latinos. Like, that's what I would say. I'm the Black of them, but not understanding that I was quite literally ancestrally the same thing. So, you know, I think that one of the ways for me in which I was very aware of my Blackness as a woman was that being in high school, LaGuardia High School Performing Arts, and having all these white boys in my department, I always had a fear of my dark pussy. Like, I was like, I know all these white girls got this pretty pink pussy, right? And I also knew that, or I imagined in my head, right, that even the other girls that were Black, that were more melanated than me, in my head, I was like, oh, but they still look one tone. I'm tan here. And then when you get down there, it gets a little darker, and it would horrify me. I'd be like, oh, that's so ugly and whatever. And like, why does my pussy need to be that kind of Black? And because my pussy looks like that, nobody's going to want to fuck my pussy, right? And so like, it's weird because like my body was like the point, and it was literally the skin, the color of my skin, that started to make me feel ick about my place. But that's just one piece of like how self-awareness as a Black woman in the dating scene manifests. And I went straight to sex, but there's like literally a million other things. Another thing that I'm always aware of is, am I too aggressive, or like doing too much, or like Dominican women are always crazy, like all of these things. And I'm like micromanaging my behavior around framework that people place upon Black women that is just a framework. It's not a reality of how we all behave. And so it's something that I think about a lot. But Daigi, you and I talk about dating a lot anyway, right? And I know you have a great deal to say around the topic. And I'm curious, you know, initially, what is your perception and relationship with your Blackness, and then as it relates to the dating scene?
For me, I feel like I always kind of show up, not even kind of, I always show up as my whole self. And I feel like that's sometimes a problem for most men that I date, no matter their race, because I don't discriminate, except for white men. But, and that's also coming from like experience as well too, because like I also like before, like I used to always be like, ew, white man, ew, no. And like, you're literally like the epitome of like a white supremacy, and I literally just can't, right? And I would say that, and then I was like, okay, well, I'm also the type of person that like I need to learn by doing. So I was like, okay, let me, like, you know, white men would come around and I would never give them a chance. And I would just be like, okay, at one point I was just like, well, let me just try to give it a chance to see, just so that I can speak from my experience versus me speaking from my bias or speaking from like prejudice or whatever, right? So I was like, you know, let me give this white man a chance. Okay, now I know it's a no. So I tried it, did it, it didn't work. So I feel like no matter what color, race, ethnicity that I date, I always feel or have felt like with the people that I've chosen, because I know this isn't true for everyone, but also I'm not here to date everyone. I'm here to date who I want. Right. And yeah, so I feel like it's always an issue because I feel like people have this perception of you, I've learned, before you even show up in their space or even begin to share space with them. They have this perception of Black women. They have this perception of you as a Black woman. Depending on the details that that you've given them, they try to make sense of you, or they try to like put you in a box. And I feel like for me, I've always kind of bust the seams of that box, not even a little bit, but a lot of it, in ways that makes the men that I'm in relationship with uncomfortable, whether it's what I choose to do for myself or how much my ambition, whether it's the things that I'm interested in that they can't really relate to. whether it's my upbringing that they can't really relate to, or where I see myself that they can't see themselves, and then they get intimidated by that and then try to like write me off as someone that's like, you know, selfish or whatever the case may be, because like they all want the best for you until the best for you maybe don't include them, and then you're just a bitch, right? So it's been very mixed in my experiences, but I think that one commonality has been true, is that I feel like people want very much to box me in, and I don't really adhere to that. And it's not really out of an act of rebellion or what have you. I'm literally just being myself. And I just felt like in the situations that I've been in, it's just been, at some point, it becomes to be too much for people.
And I feel like there's also this thing, right, where like somebody could hear what we're talking about and say, oh, but that's not because you're Black, that's because you're a woman. What are some of the ways in which you can attest to the fact that actually your Blackness has something to do with it, and it's not this narrative that this is just how women behave and we're judging you for being a woman and not because you're Black?
I think, well, I feel like the only concrete things that I can come up with is like when I was indeed like dating white men, and I was like kind of testing that out, and it didn't work for several reasons. And I think one of the biggest thing for me, and the most pivotal moment, was when I remember I even put up an Instagram post about this, because it literally like was something that I just felt so compelled to like speak out about and kind of bring a little bit of transparency to. But I can't remember exactly what was said verbatim, but it was something to the effect of like someone kind of like letting me know, or this white man basically telling me like, or asking me why I'm so, I guess why I'm so guarded, you know? And I feel like for any woman, that would be a question that their significant other would ask them if they're in a place where they feel, you know, they've been hurt before, or they've been through situations that have taught them one lesson and they don't want to learn that lesson again. So they're being a lot more careful and like, you know, in their approach when it comes to dating. But it was also, oh, this is what it was. Well, he was basically telling me like, oh, well, I'm not worried about you. Like, you can take care of yourself. And I'm like, you know, well, I get that. And I understand that, but I don't want to always have to do that. And like, I don't always want to have to like sort of, and he was talking about in the physical sense, right? And I was just like.
Right, like because I'm Black and I can fight and I can defend myself.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And it was like kind of annoying, because I'm like, because like, of course he's drawing on, one, we have shared common space as far as like training with like, and people know that like, you know, me in the fitness realm and everything, like I like trained in like Muay Thai and like things like that. And so like he has that, or boxing and things like that. So like he has that experience of seeing me in that realm. Yes. But then also, in the sense that like he was kind of pulling on, and he made it very clear that like, you know, based on like where I'm from, and like, you know, because I'm from the Bronx, and like, you know what I mean? And I'm just like, yeah, no. And it kind of turned me off, because I'm just like, that's not how I'm showing up as in this space with you. Because like, whether or not I'm a fighter in the literal sense, or in the you know, figurative sense, I'm also very much a woman. And if you're someone that's joining this space in me and trying to make me your woman, like, why do I have to fight for myself when you're here? And like, for me, that's just kind of like how I feel about it. Like, I can fight for myself, yes, but I also don't want to have to do that all the time. And I also felt like it became this bigger conversation of like me having to be strong all the time, and not wanting to occupy that space all the fucking time. Like, I want someone that I can be soft with. I want someone that I can like be vulnerable and kind of, you know, let them take on that role, and I don't have to do it. And that's what he was telling me too, was just like, well, like, I don't have to worry about that with you, because you can handle it. Or like, you know what I mean? And it was very much like, ew.
Word.
mean? Like, would you tell the same white woman who grew up in fucking Chelsea the same thing? No, you wouldn't. Whether or not she was taking boxing lessons or whatever, like, you know what I mean? And it was very irritating. And I feel like what thing that like white men don't understand, not all of them, but I haven't met the ones who do yet, child. So I'm just speaking from that perspective.
Hey, it's your truth. It's your truth.
There are different, they may be walls up when you date this Black woman who is dating white men for the first time, but also understand that this wall is built differently as well. The foundation is completely different. The way the bricks are laid are completely different because it's based on a lot of these things that you cannot relate to. You know what 100%. I'm saying? Even when it comes to the space of like physicality, like this was at one point where like my hair was shorter and he was very much like, you should grow it out again so I can play in it. And I'm like, bitch, I don't even play in my hair.
Right. This is not a playground, sir.
Like, okay, like little things like that. And it was very irritating that I'm just like, I know that wouldn't be a thing. If someone had like long, straight, silky hair, you wouldn't be as fascinated by that. And like, you know, it was just weird. Like there were just a lot of like red flags. And I was just like, yeah, you've never done this before.
I think I love that you brought up this idea of toughness and strength. Because I have always experienced that. And I often say that I think that that's also why a lot of the white boys who fucked with me heavy, like as a person, heavy, could never see themselves liking me because they automatically assumed this toughness and like roughness about me. And so I was then tomboyish and I'm Black anyway. And they're not even into like, you know, they didn't grow up around a bunch of Black people intimately, right? They're from New York, but like not in an intimate way. And so it's kind of like, yeah, she's one of the boys, but we know she's not like, we know that she's a lesbian. Like, it's like the respect line is like, oh, well, we don't think you're a lesbian. We just think you're like super tough and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So that's supposed to be some sort of fucking compliment, you know? And I think that I definitely internalized a lot of that because both in my dating life, having this, like, I wasn't used to guys even opening doors, and this idea of chivalry was not really a thing. And I've never been with a white man, and not on purpose, just because they never been drawn to me, but like even dating while Black, like flipping it and talking about Black guys, there's a way in which the way that people have been socialized to perceive the Black woman has also lent itself to, in some cases, to how Black men continue that behavior to their Black women, same or worse as some of these white dudes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're not opening the door. They don't like give a fuck. Like they're not trying to be soft and tender with you because in their head, they're just so prepared to argue with you. And somehow, and I wouldn't go as far as saying like, oh, like the Black woman's biggest enemy is the Black man, which I've seen thrown around, and I don't agree with that at all. But I do understand that it hurts double because it's like, nigga, you know, like, why are you acting brand new? Because if somebody would press your mama like this, you would be ready to list all the reasons why your mama is the way she is, right? Yeah. Why can't you extend that grace to me? And then the second thing I'll say is that like, there's a sexualization, and this happens, yes, with Black men, but I find it especially with people, and this is now going beyond white, the way the Black woman's body is sexualized, right? Like, because there are even like, you know, white Latinx people who love them a Black woman, but it's about the big booty, the lips, and this like, and it's really accentuating that stuff. And it's interesting because then it becomes hard to be a Black woman who doesn't look like a Cardi B or a Beyonce or some of these things that are more desirable, but it's almost like that's the expectation because those are the people who get elevated the most.
Yeah, it's so crazy. Like, and I also remember dating this Puerto Rican man who would make it very clear to me that like, oh, you're not the only Black girl that I've dated. Like I've dated another Black girl before, but she was like, you know, like light skin, you know, she was more like, you know, more like she looked like us, like she looked like Spanish or whatever, right? And even him telling me that like his sister, when she saw me for the first time, his sister was like, oh, your girlfriend's like black. Yeah, right?
Black.
Yeah. and then was like, basically would tell me like that, and I don't know, like he would tell me these things that people would say about me upon seeing me, like their responses as far as like seeing me with him, and telling me it as if it was like a compliment. Like he would tell me like one of his homies who was also a Latino man and also like very like, you know, white passing, a little bit more conquistador blood versus like African slave or Taino blood, right?
I had one of those.
Yeah, and like, you know, would tell me that like, oh, I see you, or whatever the case may be. And it's like, you know, I thought about that too. Like, you know, I was with my girl for a minute and I thought that, you know, if I ever get back out there again and I start dating, I'm gonna give a morena a shot. Like, what? Like
And
that's
people don't
something
hear
that
themselves
they
when they
don't
say shit
fucking
like
when they
that.
hear, and
What?
I'm literally there like, what? Like, and you think that's okay? And you said what? Like, you know what I mean? And things like that, that people don't think that they're fetishizing. They don't think that they're like, you know, doing this like fun experimental thing when they're dating Black women. And I'm like, I'm a fucking person, bro. Like with a whole fucking life and experiences and emotions and stories to tell, the same way that you are that person. Like, why is like dating me looked at as a fucking adventure?
Absolutely.
And that's like, I can't, like, I mean, it is, but you know, just because it's me, like, not because of my Blackness. And like, to me, that's one of the most like irritating things that like, and I'm 30 years old now, like, and I've been dating since what, like, since I was 18. Like, yo, I'm like 12 years into this shit. And it's like I'm hearing the same things from grown ass people. Like, it's not like I'm 30 dating the same 18-year-olds. Like, I'm 30 dating like 30 and above. And this is how y'all really think. And y'all are the people raising children.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's so interesting, and to speak to raising children, this is a perfect segue. Like, what are some of the ways in which you either growing up, and whether that's evolved or not, I'd love to hear, what were the standards of what you expected your partner to be, what you expected them to have, like outside of race, like what were the things that, what were your first impressions of what a partner should be, and how has that evolved?
I think before, I don't really think I had that. Like, I didn't have a clear vision as far as like who I wanted that person to be, outside of them just being somebody that was loving and like essentially like a best friend, right? Somebody that I was just like, excuse me, just somebody that was very like easy to get along with, and not only just easy to get along with, but like we had fun together. And I think I did find that. But then in finding that, I realized that there were so many things that had to go along with that in order for it to be something prosperous or something that would, you know, have longevity, right? And so where I am now is that, and it's not to say that my list is like so long, but there are some non-negotiables. Like there, like for me, like I want someone who is a God-fearing man. Like to me, that's important. And you know, not someone that's just like, you know, I believe in the cosmos and I'm spiritual. Like, do you believe in God though? Like that, you know, like specifically that. And just because of where I am in my faith, and I want someone that kind of like shares in that sort of belief as well, but not rigid. You know what I mean? As far as like, because even where I am with my faith is like, I'm not like this, and I hate calling myself a Christian because I feel like it sort of denotes this like sort of rigidity and like religion and like, which I'm so not about. Very less religion and more like spirituality, but with sort of the constructs of that, knowing that, you know, there's truth in the stories that we tell across all religions and things like that. But, you know, that comes with time, and finding somebody that is that evolved spiritually is very difficult. And then also someone who is grown. Can we talk about it? Because these people, their birth certificates are saying grown, they driver's license say grown, but the way they show up is not. The way they show up is very much giving DZ Discovery Zone. It's giving
Discovery Zone.
it's giving Happy Meal. It's giving me Kids Bop. And I'm very much not here for that. And I feel like there's this kind of quote that we always hear about, like, you know, spiritual women or like women who are naturally like healers would always attract men that need healing. Like, I'm sick and tired of healing these motherfuckers or trying to heal them. Like, and I've literally have made clear that that is very much not my ministry anymore. But to some extent, for some reason, I'm still attracting some of these broken men. And it's very much been an issue. So I feel like after every situation or every relationship, like I kind of have to get more clear with myself about the things that I want and the things that I'm not willing to compromise on. So I kind of rambled a little bit, but I hope I answered.
No, that's an answer for sure.
Yeah.
Yes. And so Daigi, we wanted to know, what was your community's response to your dating interests?
Woo.
The laugh.
You gotta laugh because, honey, so I've also, like, I'm the type of person that, like, I not only live outside the box, but I date outside the box, right? So I've dated like all kinds of men, Black, now white. I can say that I've dated white men. Probably won't do that again.
I love how you say it all the time. You make it clear that you're not sure that that's ever going to happen again.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, you know, if it's maybe like, we'll see if like I run into like Christopher Jamal Evans.
He need a little Jamal in him.
Look, because I don't know. That's a whole different story. But yeah, no, it's a no for me usually automatically with white men. Sorry, not sorry, but just from my experiences. And what's crazy is like I've kind of had like my little speculations and then I experienced it and I was like, oh, look, I was right. Stories. I got stories on stories from that. But it's been, because I've basically dated pretty much everyone as far as like Black, white, Asian, Latino. It's definitely been mixed. Like I feel like people never know. Like when I say I'm dating someone, people never know who the fuck to expect. They can't picture what this guy is gonna look like.
I can attest to that. I never assume.
Yeah, don't assume with me because you're not gonna know. Like, ha, I got you, bitch. Look at you. Now you surprised. You didn't even think you was gonna be. That's how I date. And it's really, for me, it's about the energy for me. It's about the energy of the person. It's about the things that we can relate on. It's about how we connect with each other and that vibe and that connection. But also, I feel like it's so important to me, no matter who you are and what you look like, that you're supportive of who I am, not just as an artist, not just as a woman, but as a Black woman, right? And how I show up and are so respectful of that. And so I feel like I've gotten that for the most part to an extent. And I think that's been the breaking points in all of my relationships, is that people are so here for you and they want to rock with you and they want to ride with you until they can't, you know what I mean? Or until they can't relate anymore. Or maybe they see themselves sort of being a little bit more stagnant or just mired to mediocrity. And they can't grasp the fact that you can be this expansive, that you can be this and all of this at once. And I feel like sometimes it's intimidating, but I don't feel like it's intimidating so much as they're just intimidated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's always been it's always been a weird response. I remember the first boyfriend that I brought home was like Puerto Rican, and I felt like it was very much like my family. I come from a Jamaican family, and my Jamaican family is always like, I feel like when an outsider like comes among us, we're like, let's give them like the weirdest thing that they could possibly eat that they're not used to and see how they react to it, and kind of like judge them based on that.
No.
So it was so funny, but like it wasn't like the weirdest, but like that was like the first time that he ever had like curry goat, and like he like absolutely loved it. And so my mom was like, oh, great.
Right, as long as she doesn't need to modify
Yes.
her menu.
Like we can keep him, like that's fine. But so funny that like low-key in reverse, his family did the same thing to me, because like it was like, yeah, it wasn't until then that I realized that like they gave me octopus, child. It's octopus salad. And like I didn't realize that this was a thing that Puerto Ricans do or whatever. I mean, now, pulpo, right. And so now I'm used to it, you know, but like, you know, when I already knew what it was because we did it to him. So when, you know, his I pulled up with I was like, oh.
With the smile.
And I saw these tentacles on my plate, baby. And I was like, you know, I'm still right. I'm a fear factor this with a smile. But I actually ended up liking it. So there was that. And I feel like I also, at first I was like it was different, but I got accustomed to it. But yeah, that's one thing about us as far as like, I feel like as Black people in general, but West Indians, like we're generally like very welcoming. Like Jamaicans, like we'll crack jokes on you all day, every day. But then at the same time, we're also going to be pretty embracing. And then also like my family has like background with like Cuban ancestry and things like that. And like one of my great aunts who we just buried, God rest her soul, maybe about 2 years back, was also, I think one of the last relatives, her twin sister included, who's still alive, was born in Cuba that we know of, you know, and that we still have connections to. So, you know, they're gonna talk their shit, but
so what would you say is a misconception that people have around what you may want in the relationship when you go in?
A misconception. I feel like it can either be one of two things. I think that the misconception is actually, it's really just one. It's really just one. It just shows up in different ways. I'm learning is that a lot of these men don't really want a girlfriend or a wife. Like they want a mother that gives them regular head.
Talk about it.
And I feel like that's so real. And I think it's so important to now I'm seeing not only, you know, as far as like their dads, but like to see what the relationships are with their mothers. And it can kind of vary, but that's why I'm like, it's so important for me to like get to know a person before I jump in with both feet and completely commit, right? But that's really what I've been discovering is that like independent women have it really hard when dating because we're also very clear on the things that we want and the things that we're capable of doing for ourselves. But then at the same time, we do want our men to show up as men and in their truest form and whatever that means for them. And I'm big on that. Like I'm big on like not overstepping in a sense of like, just in any relationship and just allowing people to be who they are. Whether your man is a little bit more masculine and he kind of wants to play that role or take on that role. And it doesn't always mean that like they have to run shit, right? But it just kind of means that like they just have to feel like it. Like you know what I mean? Like the best
illusion.
thing that you can do, exactly, give them the illusion that they're kind of like, you know, whatever the case may be. And it doesn't always have to be this like competition and this back and forth and this like, oh, you know, like that's something that they kind of have to open up to on their own, is like getting accustomed to that dynamic. And everyone has to get accustomed to some dynamic. But I feel like that's been the biggest thing, is like, for me, in my experience, they want to be mothered. They want you to do everything for them. They want you to do the things that their mama does. Like they want you to cook. Like, oh boy, that I was recently seeing was literally like, why isn't anything ready for me when I come home?
What?
You see? And now you see why that's no longer a thing. Because
what?
Because like, I'm sorry, you said what now?
Right.
Like, wait, what? Like honestly,
did he ask and you were like, no? And then he was like, oh, like,
no, that was just the expectation. And that's the problem. Or they give with the expectation to receive something. But not only just to receive something, but to receive something very specific that they never really voiced in the beginning. I have so much respect for men that, like, regardless of, like, I mean, I may not respect their views, but I have respect for the man that can come to you and be like, yo, this is what I want. This is what I want from my woman, and blah, blah, blah. And just be upfront. Like, bro, I'm not the girl for you. Pero, I appreciate you, you know, laying it out on the table and letting me know that I can just walk away from now and I don't have to waste 3-4 months of my time find out later. Exactly.
Right.
So yeah, like more of that, because I feel like also men like that, by the number of rejections that they get, they're gonna have to realize that they got to do some self-reflection, and they got to tweak their little list. Okay. So
fuck with it.
There's also that.
Do you think that you can date white and stay woke or be woke?
I wouldn't know. I literally, like, me speaking from experience, I was just too woke for those situations, so I had to dip out. Because I just couldn't, like, I literally just couldn't. I had one man tell me that, like, he used his white privilege to do X, Y, and Z. And I was like, the fact that you're so aware, and two, you're so comfortable expressing that to a Black woman, like, who literally has like the least amount of privilege in this nation, and you were like kind of like making light of it, like it was a joke, and it was so fun for you to do this, and it was like, this seems like a fun talking point, like, are you dumb? I also had another man tell me that, like, when he got into an argument with an Indian man in a convenience store based on the fact that the man was like coughing and like wasn't covering his mouth. And he was telling him like, hey, you know, cover your mouth, whatever the case may be. They were on the line, right? So he was pretty close to him when this guy was coughing, which I'm like, yo, that's warranted. Like, that's nasty as shit. Like somebody just coughing out in the open without covering their mouth. I'd say something too. But he, in the heat of this argument, and this is how, you know, you always see people for who they are when they show up in these little heated situations, they reveal themselves. He said to this man, this Indian man, this older Indian man, that's not how we do things here.
Oh, nope.
Right.
Go somewhere, John Smith.
Looked at him sideways, and then he was like, that kind of came off kind of wrong, right? That sounded kind of racist. Sir, you have to ask. If you have, the fact that you have to ask lets me know that you are knowingly trying it. Knowingly. Yep. You know? So there's that. And then there's the level of entitlement that you just kind of like, I don't have time to sit there and break down. And even whether they're aware of it or not, they do it. Even my most woke white folk that I know and love, also kind of show up in spaces in a certain kind of way where I'm always like, and they'd be like, oh yeah, you're right. And I'm like, yeah. I don't got time to do that in my relationship. I also don't have time to explain myself. I'm not explaining to you why I need a silk scarf to tie my head. I'm not explaining to you why I need to wear
you. This ain't Discovery Channel.
Okay. I'm not explaining to you why you're not about to come at my head with this fine tooth comb, or why I need to deep condition every week, or why I can't use whatever this lotion is that you use because I need my shea butter. It's winter and you're bugging. And like, you know what I mean? Like there's all of those little nuances that like I'm also not willing to sort of give someone access to, number one, and then also feel like I'm always in a mode of like explaining. So no, I want to feel comfortable. You know?
Skittles, what about you? I'm curious. I don't know if I know your answer around this.
What do you mean?
Do you think you could be woke and still date a white guy as a Latino man?
I feel like my natural taste for white men has diminished like so far. I just don't even look at them like that. You know what I mean? Like
this is not like, even in your line of vision. But where does that come from?
I don't know. I feel like, you know, naturally growing up, like I guess in my community, I was more attracted to men of color, whatever. And then like my experience with white men has been so consistent with like, you know, just shit that I don't like in terms of like whether it comes from like things like toxic masculinity or just like, you know, just the way that white men carry themselves in situations. Like I've never been.
Is it the pink stick Skittles? You could tell us the truth.
Also a thing. Also a thing.
That's why, you know, I always say if I end up with a white man, he's going to be a white Latino, probably, right? Because white Latino men, right, they white passing, they Latino, but the dick be tan. I could do that. I could do that.
That's true. You know, exactly. And I feel like also like Sicilian men.
I've never had an Italian man in my life.
So there's that. That's also a thing. Because I feel like not Italian, but Sicilian specifically.
Right.
Because then like you also got to remember in proximity, Sicily is very close to Africa.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they got the island of Malta and like all of that sort of region or whatever. So I'm not a genealogist, but you know, some things
some things just add up.
Some things just added up. Some things when you give a little social studies lesson. So through migration and cultural diffusion,
I love it. So Daigi, last question on this. If you were to give some words of advice or some words of affirmation for other Black women and Black people who are dating, what piece of advice would you give them? Words, affirmations.
I think I would say you're enough. That would be like my first and foremost, is that you are enough. I feel like in a lot of these spaces that we show up, especially in light of like where my mind has been this week with regards to like body positivity and like thinking about where you came from, Jaleesa, with your experience of like, you know what I mean? And like, just like having those sort of like qualms or things like that. I feel like sometimes we're often judged, especially as a darker skinned Black woman. Like I feel like that happens to me very often. But one, you are enough. You're powerful. And you're allowed to be powerful, but you're also allowed to be soft. You're also allowed to be vulnerable. You can be all of those things and still be beautiful. And that doesn't take away from your worth and your value as a woman. If anything, it adds to it. Like, you are so much more than these tiny little boxes that they're trying to put you in. You're expansive, and you deserve someone and a partner that is just as expansive, that's going to grow with you. So, yeah.
Amen. I love that. Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for joining us today. Please let us know any shout outs. Where can we find you on the social webs?
Yes. So I'm on Instagram at The Perfect Day. Really, that's just it right now. We're working on the other ones, the other modes of communication, but you can find me on Instagram at @theperfect_DAI. I'll be there giving you your daily dose of day, whether it's a little bit of humor, whether it's a little life lesson. I'm big on like learning as you go, and my platform, I feel like, is all about not just those experiences, but also the things that I've learned from those experiences. So definitely stay tapped in for that. And I'm open to like dialogue and hearing other people's perspectives and stuff. And, you know, if you call now, just kidding, but you know, get into that. And that's really what it's all about. Like, I feel like a lot of the times, even when it comes to information, whether it's something that's going to be lucrative, whether it's something that's going to be helpful, I feel like we kind of hoard that and we kind of keep that to ourselves and we put it in our diary. And I'm very big on being an open book, and like I'm big on like putting that out there and letting people know, like, this is where I'm coming from. This is what I've learned from this situation, because I know that my situation or my circumstances aren't unique, and there's always someone else going through it too. So I'm big on building community that way, just through shared experience.
Yes. That's true empowerment right there. Yeah. Skittles, where can they find us?
Y'all can find us at Ladies Who Brunch on Instagram, at Ladies Brunch on Twitter, and at Julissa on Instagram, and at The Real Skittles on Instagram as well.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. What a wonderful conversation. And until next time, guys, brunch.